Thanks for coming back to the Travel Once podcast. Today I'm lucky to have Curtis Fisher with me. How are you doing today, Curtis?
All right, how's it going, Pete?
Doing well. Curtis is a personal trainer doing a whole bunch of good stuff with the body, and I've known Curtis for quite a while, and I thought he'd be great to come on and really talk about how to stay in shape while most of us travelers are on the road trying not to eat all that fast food. What's your background real quick, Curtis?
I've always been an athlete, in school, played football, ran track, wrestled, did martial arts, things like that. Then, of course, after school, I started getting more into the bodybuilding ring, started doing competitive bodybuilding, competed in Muscle Mania, won in 2000. Then I got into what's called the NPC world, which is the mainstream bodybuilding arena. Started doing magazine shoots. I had a feature in there in Iron Man magazine, and even had a client that was featured in there. I was a blogger, online blogger for Iron Man magazine for about a year on their site, and I was published writer for them as well. And so, I just been training people over the years, and some competitive, some non-competitive, regular people. So that's pretty much, where I've come from as far as the fitness lifestyle.
Perfect. For us business travelers, it's for me, it's sitting in a car for 4 or 5 straight hours, and then for some people, obviously, it's in a plane ride for up to 6, 7, 8 hours.
Right.
What's the best way for people to just kind of keep their body moving even though it's sedentary?
Well, you can really find time to do anything. I'm pretty busy. I have a family and stuff, and I'm working full time and things like that. And you could find time if you're in a hotel room, or even if you're a truck driver, say, and pull over the side of the road, or in your office, and you could do what I'd have a lot of clients do when I used to train on the beach or in parks, or even of course, in the gym setting. You can do stationary cardio without any cardio machine. You can do jogging in place. You can do high knees in place. That's jogging with the knees higher.
Yep.
You can do jumping jacks. You can do push-ups. You can do, tricep presses by just leaning on any side of a chair or a bed, things like that to keep yourself active. And just if you were to do even 5 minutes a day of that type of short burst of workouts while you are on the road, or if you're traveling in your hotel room, it really makes a difference in how your body can stay sort of in that fat burning mode and stay active and keep the circulation going by just moving, even if it's just 5 minutes a day.
Yeah,
you really
exactly.
be surprised, how effective that is, because you can increase the intensity as you get more and more, you build your wind, so to say.
What is the, I even hate to say this, as I get older, I really do feel it's harder to get going.
Yeah, it definitely is. A lot of times, that's definitely a fact, I've gotten older too over the years, and you do feel that. And a lot of times, like I was telling you a little while ago, Peter, when we were talking,
yeah.
I'm running this 30-day ab challenge, and I've taken off in the first 30 days, 15 pounds or so, and you can kind of feel the energy come back when you bring down that body weight. Sometimes the body weight that we hold on us, especially as you get older, it can kind of slow you down, get you a little winded, and you may not feel as energetic. Whereas if you bring down that body fat by just changing the diet a little, maybe cutting out some of those, sugary foods and foods that are just going to have a lot of extra calories, bad calories, fat, and things like that, you can take away some of that extra weight. And it's not to say to get rid of the things that are going to give you energy, because there's a lot of natural foods that are going to give you energy, and of course there's things that are stimulants that are going to help you with, energy, like coffee and things like that. But it's just to say, if you can cut out some of the excess overabundance of sugary foods and snacks that you may have, just because you feel like having them.
And it's convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient. that can kind of bring your energy level down because you're adding extra body fat, and it kind of makes you a little sluggish, a little tired. So by changing that up just a little, you kind of feel a little more energetic on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it also it's kind of the positive reinforcement. You start feeling a little better, so you think, what I'm doing, I need to keep doing it.
Right.
You want to reinforce that good feeling of not feeling sluggish or overweight or.
Yeah, and I just want to bring the point and bring the light also that I know a lot of people are on the social media, and you could see everyone, especially if you're on the fitness forums or you're in the fitness pages or whatever, people are seem to be to where they're living at every day. They're living like a fitness life every day, and everything they do and everything they eat, everything is surrounded by fitness only. It's sort of obsessive, especially comes from someone, who's been around it for over 20-something years doing it. It can get to where it's monotonous, and it's actually not a happy way of living, in my opinion. There are a lot of people that just, it seems like they've really jumped on this fitness bandwagon, and everything is taken to heart to where every single thing they do has to be fitness as far as the diet's concerned, fitness orientated. And that's not a realistic way to live, especially for people with busy lives and maybe have family and things like that. It's more about moderation. I think you're better off if you just keep everything in moderation. So it's not to say that you can't have cheat days. It's not to say that you can't do certain things. It's just more about, let me just cut things down a little. Because even if you just cut things down a little, you'll notice that in itself over time will make a big difference. And you don't have to really suffer that much. But if you keep everything consistent, like keep moderation on the foods, keep consistent with just staying active, like I was pointing out earlier, with even or doing your 5 minutes of workout or something a day, even in your house or on the road, in your hotel room, or stopping if you're a truck driver, pull over the side of the road and do something like that. It really can make a difference in your overall physical, way that you look and you feel and the way your body operates and your circulation level and your limbs. Your mind feels better. You're able to breathe a lot better because you have you have more stamina that opens up your lungs. With a decrease in the bad food, the body fat goes down, so you have more energy and you just feel more mobile.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I always tell people, better is better.
Right.
Right. So if I go on the road and maybe I'll have a bad meal, but I'll eat 3 good meals, on a 2-day trip.
Right.
Better is better. So, versus
exactly.
4 bad meals, which is what I used to eat.
Right. Exactly. It is. It's more of like you said, doing having the majority of better things. Because let's face it, after a while, I'm out and about too in my day job, and so I actually get tired of eating. When I wasn't doing this 30-day challenge, eating fast food, you get acid reflux, and you just start having a lot of bad issues with all the bad fast food that's out there. Now there are fast food options. I talked about it even on my YouTube page on what can do, and then the most recent one I talked about. There's different options that you can do when you're out there. Like you can go to have places to eat that are serving maybe just the rice and just chicken, or the rice and the steak.
Yeah.
Those types of bowls that you can get, and it gives you, the vegetable option, and you got your complex carbs with the rice, and you have your protein with the meat, chicken or steak or whatever. And it's a way that you can get out and still feed yourself and not have to worry too much about having, all the bad fast food, maybe, burritos or too many hamburgers or all the other stuff that's out there. So there are options pretty much in every state that you go to, every city that you go to, whether it's a place that we know in a big city or an off-brand. You just kind of have to pick through where you're choosing to drive and eat, and you could still feed yourself and not starve and not have to cheat. Or even grocery stores, a lot of times you can go in there and they even have the delis where you can pick and choose, the meats. They have chicken and they have different options that you can get. Maybe potatoes they have, and then little vegetable servings so that you can get the meals in and not have to really worry too much about always, having to stop at a fast food place, because those delis, it's already big, So it's the same kind of deal. Yeah, it's the same kind of deal. You go in there, it's sort of like fast food, but it's just, like home cooked food, but only in a fast food type of way, because you can just get it, buy it, and it's prepared, and then you could be on your way. You could even buy more than enough to keep it so that you have more than one meal.
Yeah, exactly. You're also a big, well, I don't know about a big believer, but you definitely believe in supplements. What are kind of the go-tos for, is there a difference between men and women, age?
As far as the supplements experience?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it all depends. When it comes to supplements, it depends on, what you're healthy enough to use. I would always suggest finding out if that's something that you use. As long as you don't have any medical issues, you can, follow the directions on what the bottles of whatever supplements you can use. Like, one of the companies that I endorse is the ATS Labs. That's ATS Labs supplements. There are things on there that you can use, like that I use, especially for this thing and challenge that I'm doing. I use the fat burners. There's the branched chain amino acids they have. And, the pre-workouts are pretty intense. It's not for everyone, but these are things that can help. And then, of course, there's also the essentials, aside from the more hardcore supplements, like the multivitamins. And you have multivitamins that would be A to zinc, and they have the Bs in there, B12 and things like that. Right. You have the omega 369s with the good fatty acids. You have the calcium, magnesium for the lack of calcium, because if you up your ante on the protein, it's going to negate a lot of calcium in you. You have vitamin C for the immune system. You can even get into other little more in-depth supplements like glutamine that are used for that's an amino acid for muscle repair, things like that. Yeah, so those are pretty in-depth supplements that you can utilize, especially when you're omitting, taking out a lot of things that you may be eating. Like a lot of times when you're on a diet that's pretty serious, you're going to be taking away a lot of sugar, so you may not be drinking a lot of juices a lot. You may not be eating as many fruits as you used to. So you're gonna, need to replace some of those with some supplements that can supplement the diet. They're exactly what it's called, supplementing real food. Yeah. But but food is first and foremost the most important. Fresh food, fresh vegetables. You're gonna have fruits, fresh fruits. Those are always the staples of building a good foundation and a good diet, a good healthy lean diet. Fresh foods, fresh fruits, fresh everything. It's the best way to go if you can.
I hear it, and that's. I'll tell you, as someone that I drive, and all of a sudden you drive through Central California, you might not necessarily find health food options, but you're right. There a lot of the chains are starting to get into more healthy foods. You just got to really find them, and you got to want to eat them. Yeah, you do. You have to find them. I mean, it's pretty much anyway. A lot of, like you said, a lot of places that are rural, they have, they're starting to get different healthy food options. But if not, you can always pick and choose the little places that, maybe the culture of the food is sometimes a little healthier because of the way that they prepare it. Or you could just go in there and modify it, what they serve, and ask, to have it prepared a certain way. That's a lot of times what you had to do as a bodybuilder. You have to go into these places and sort of tell them how to prepare your food. You go to restaurants and things and be eating, and you have to tell them, no butter on the potato, no, sugar type of sauces on the meat and things like that, so that you could have a cleaner steak and a potato that's plain and these are things that in the bodybuilding days when you try to get ready, you have to go and pick and choose what you're going to eat on a menu, tell the waiter what you need,
And if you're going and eating in restaurants and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, I worked at an event, and this lady, who was very fit, was in my booth shopping, and all of a sudden she breaks out her little tray of food.
Wow.
I'm like, you're eating right now? She goes, that's time to eat.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm just on a really regimented diet because I have an upcoming event, and it's time to eat. So she was literally eating her little rice and meat and broccoli or whatever she had in there while she was shopping.
Right. I mean, see, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
That's usually what you end up doing if you are really trying to get ready for something. It really becomes to where you're an outsider in the regular community and wherever you're at, because you're doing things that people think are odd, but these are things that are necessary to keep your body really, really strict. And it's extreme. A lot of people really don't know what that's about unless you're in that world. But you have to always preparing, especially when you're trying to do something like dieting, is the best thing to do. You're always prepared. You have to prepare everything. And even if you don't have the food on you, you have to mentally be able to think about, okay, this is where I can get it. This is where I can get that. Anywhere I go, I could pretty much pick apart what I need to eat. If I go to a regular place that's serving regular food, what are the options when I go in there and look at the menu? Okay, what could I have done here? If that's not possible, maybe I can find somewhere. There's always pretty much somewhere to get something anywhere in the country, by either going to a grocery store or going into a restaurant or a place that may have options to where you can, have the food served differently or modified so that it's something you can use and not have to worry about all the sauces and maybe the excess amount of breads, things that are gonna, put extra calories in your diet and keep you from losing that extra body fat.
Now, I know everybody's body is different and metabolism rates and all that. What would you say is the biggest challenge for people to lose weight? Where most people failing?
Well, I think what happens is people, it's a motivation. It's a time restraint issue first, and because a lot of people are so busy that they don't really have time to think about things like that because they're working and they have family, and and it's just one of those things when you do something like trying to get in shape and lose weight, you have to have time to be able to dedicate to it, and when you talk about getting yourself in shape, that's sort of a selfish sort of thing when you think about it, because it's all about you, and you have to put everything else on the back burner in order to get that started, which means that you need to spend time to be able to do that, which means that if you're cooking, you have to cook for you, and then you got to cook for everyone else. If you're real busy, it's going to be hard to spend all this extra time to do that. So it's going to be easier to go out and grab something quick that could be fattening, and have sugar. So that's the first thing, the first obstacle. And then what happens with that is, since that's an obstacle, it makes it harder to even motivate yourself to get started, because you're like, well, I'm busy, it's too hard, and then when I do try it, I'm low on energy and I'm starving. So it's hard for people, first of all, to find the time, and then once they do try it for a day or even a week, they're like, man, this is too hard because now I'm tired and I'm running out of time. I just need to get something. So it's the scheduling. It's finding the time and the scheduling. And then once they can get through that, now they have to try to find it within them to keep this going. So it's the consistency after that. So I think those two things stop a lot of people from trying. It's not like they probably couldn't do it. It's just that to find the time and to stay consistent with that, aside from even, staying strict with working out and everything else, that's the first main obstacle is time. Everyone's so busy doing everything. Everyone's sitting in the car, sitting in an office.
Yeah. Well, for me, like I can tell you last week when I drove down to San Diego, the first day of driving between going to my first account, then going to my second account, and then going back to the hotel where my third account was going to be.
Right.
I put in just over 6 hours of driving, plus the two meetings.
Right.
So all of a sudden, do I really feel like working out?
Right.
You know what I mean? After sitting stagnant for 6 hours, I kind of do. But then I'll find the bathroom counter in the hotel and just do some decline push-ups.
Right.
Some stretches.
Right. Something to try to keep active.
And, it's funny just doing squats with just your own body weight.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to work the legs, and that's one of the ways that I'll have a lot of people do it to begin with, even in a gym setting, is just with their own body weight. Because as long as you have that resistance going and you're doing the full range of motion, you're going to feel that resistance. You're going to keep that circulation. You're going to keep that strength on the legs and on the core because it takes all that to do squats. And those are the biggest muscles, the legs. So definitely it's going to burn the most calories by taxing out the big muscles. So that's a very good fat burning exercise because the legs are big, and the bigger the muscle, the more calories. Right. So the more energy it's going to take translates into more calories burned. So that's a resistance training along with a little cardio. You can definitely keep the metabolism going. You can keep the body burn fat. And that's where you want to be, and fat oxidizing type of state.
If you were to tell a business traveler one food or group or however you class, what would you tell them to avoid from eating while they're on the road?
Well, I would say sauces and things that make things taste good that are sugar based. And then breads and dairies. Dairies would be cheese, there would be milk. Breads would, of course, be any kind of breads or cakes. Those types of things add a lot of extra body fat. If you omit dairy products, if you omit breads, and if you omit more, especially, artificial sugars or sugars that are processed sugars, you're gonna chop down a lot of that battle that you gotta overcome to get that body fat down. So, if you can go in and have something that's a diet drink instead of a real soda or real juice, get a water, or maybe you can even have a coffee to sort of, because a lot of times it's a mental thing with us when we're trying to get the sugar rush.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get you want something that tastes good. So, right now, I do the coffee and I can do the non-dairy creamer with it. And you can, there's a healthier sweetener instead of, you don't want to use like the other types of stevia. It has a little weird aftertaste, but otherwise you can just have it with non-dairy and a little cinnamon or something in the coffee. Or you could do a tea with a sweetener, black tea or something to have a sugar craving. There's even other things you can do, like there's the protein bars that are pretty good. You just always want to check the supplement facts on the back, nutrition facts on the back of the food to see the serving amount and how many sugars. You want to keep the sugar down low, anywhere from 1 to only 3 grams per serving. Look at how many servings and whatever you're eating. And sodium, you want to try to keep it low, but it's not that much of a concern. And you want to look at the fat content in whatever it in case it's like, like a protein bar. Look at the sugar, look at the fat,
sure,
and make sure those are low. And that will sort of give you a little, it pacifies you a little from having to have, the fattening cupcakes or a bunch of chips or other things. And until you can kind of get that under control, because you have to realize if you got a lot of work to do because you haven't been training for years and you've been out of it for years, you're a person that's been working for 20 years and you haven't started working out, it's going to be really hard versus someone who works out every once in a while, every month. So it's a lot different for someone who hasn't done nothing in 20 years versus someone who does something every month or more.
Yeah, I always tell people, when I see the diets and this and that or whatever, I always go, you ate terrible for 20 years, but now you want to get better in 90 days.
Right. That's it's going to be really hard mentally, to even conquer that kind of. That's a lot of work for someone who's been inactive for 20 years.
Exactly.
That's 90 days. It's not going to happen. Now you can try to change what you're doing in 90 days, but it's all about getting acclimated and getting used to it, which means that you're going to have to take baby steps and just learn how to clean things up. And it might be better if you just start getting active first and then just not eating as much crap all the time. That way you kind of, because you want to get to a point to where you want to do it, not that you feel like you have to do it.
Yeah.
And, that's the point that you want to get to. Because if you feel like you have to do it, most likely you're gonna not really want to do it all the time. But if you feel like you start getting results, like with a lot of clients, I would try to get them to where they can actually see the results and get some results by losing weight or changing, or people noticing their changes. Then they get excited and they want more. They want to do it more because they're getting results. But if you're just doing it and you feel like you have to do it, chances are you're probably not going to try to keep it up too much because it's just too much work and you're not really getting. So you have to think about it and be smart and do it slowly so that you can handle it.
And I know you're just finishing up your 30-day ab challenge.
Right.
Are you gonna? What's next? What's your next series? Do you think?
The next thing that we're gonna do is try to build, because I get a lot of questions, especially from a lot of young people that are trying to compete, and a lot of young guys want to put on size. So the next thing I'm going to try to go into is how to build size, but I'm also going to try to maintain some sort of lean size.
Okay.
So it's going to be to where I'll talk about just the bulking up, especially for hard gainers, like, if you're a natural ectomorph, which means if you're naturally thin. I'll talk about how to just full on, just try to put those calories on, but at the same time, it's going to be me actually putting calories back in and trying to keep lean at the same time, meaning I'll try to stay, cardiovascular-wise active, but introduce more calories to try to put on size. And the weight training that I've been doing, you'll see a lot more powerlifting, not powerlifting, so to say, but increasing my weight, increasing the amount of weight that I'm able to do in the gym because of the extra calories. And what that does is when you lift more weight, the muscle compensates and grows. So this is a way to gain size through gaining strength. And so it's sort of like once you've sort of built this foundation and got your body in tune with this 30-day ab challenge, then from there you try to put on that lean muscle mass and try to grow as clean as you can,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's the direction it's going to be after this 30 days and beyond.
Are you going to, and this is like just between, I guess, you and me in a sense, is, most of your 30-day challenge were about 3 minutes.
Right,
most of them. Some were 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Are you contemplating putting that together into a one movie DVD kind of collection or something people could download?
I mean, that definitely could be a possibility. And as you said, we wanted to make sure that something was done every single day, so that if somebody were to refer to it, they could just go and look and see from day 1 all the way to day 30. But there definitely could be something where it could be put into one file and a downloadable thing, and we can put it back on the old site that we had.
Yeah. That
we still have. It's the Diet Whatnots site. And that definitely is an option. Now that you said that, I definitely think about doing that.
Because the one thing you've always had is really good production.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So I just, I watch them and I look and I go, they're pretty good put together.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. That's what I wanted to do with it too. put my journey to show exactly how I'm looking and what I'm doing, and showing how you can realistically change. Because I know a lot of people look at they look at the social media sites and see these people, and all of a sudden they look like they're in magazines.
Yeah.
And I've been in the magazines, so they see and they say, well, you're already in magazines. So to see me starting up and going from just looking normal, and like probably some people do. And,
big normal though.
Yeah, just a little different, but not really, not like the people, the social media people, a lot of them are shredded to the bone,
Yeah, yeah.
And so it looks like impossible. So that's why I said, well, at least if they could see the journey from day one all the way, and see slight changes, and not these crazy, incredible changes, but just slight changes, and me just trying to tell them exactly what I'm doing, down to running outside and I eat certain things, and tell them what I'm eating, show them that, and even the approach that I took was a little different than usual. And it's because of my workload and things like that. And I travel and work all night, and my traveling commute is about 100 miles each way just for a regular job. So,
right.
So, putting that all into account and really explaining, what I'm going through, maybe it'll inspire people to say, okay, well, he actually did it. And every day he was telling something and putting it, every day he had something that recorded about what was going on all the way into the end. So hopefully it translates like that to people and gives them some hope.
Oh, it looks like you're getting, your 30-day app thing is getting some good play. So
yeah.
And I know my listeners are gonna they'll benefit from some tips. I always tell people, like, when they're like, why do you start the podcast? And I go, look, if one business listener hears one, hey, I use this app when I travel, or I go stay at this hotel, or I eat this kind of food, or I train this. If they get one thing out of it,
right,
they're better off.
Right, exactly. It really is.
Well, your workout's kind of the same way.
Right.
It's not everybody's going to do all 30-day steps, but if they do 25 of them and they feel better, you just make somebody's life better.
Exactly, and that's the reason why every time for the most part on some of the videos, I would say, it doesn't matter when you join in. I even told people, I think at day 9 or 8 or something, I said, if you haven't joined in, you want to join in, hell, even at day 30, you want to join in and do it, do you have the other videos I've done to show to try it?
Yeah.
Because it's not, like I tell people in the videos, it's not really about whether or not you get abs at the end of 30 days. It doesn't really matter if you change to yourself at all, but if you've made an attempt and you've tried and you've gone and you're starting it, that's all that really matters. It's the journey, not really the results, because it's better than when before you started. So that's all that's important. As long as if you try to attempt it, or at least put some knowledge so that you can use for next time, then that's good too. Anything's better than nothing.
Better's better.
Yeah.
So what's the best way for my fans to reach out to you and start following you?
Yeah, so they could go to, I don't know if you have let me see, Curtis Fit Graham is the Instagram, and the Curtis Fisher channel is my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So you can go there. Or else they can go to, let's see, I don't want to give too many little people off here. But
I'll put the links into the website page as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. You can do that. And that's a way to, or you sure can, they can email their regular email, curtisfisher1@gmail.com. And if they wanted to reach out that way, that's connected to my website as well. So they can go in there and give any questions, any comments, check out any other videos.
Oh yeah, you're one of the good guys. So
thanks.
I really appreciate the time and energy you put into it, and letting me reach out to you and steal some of your weekend time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the time and putting me on this podcast. This is great, man. Great you're doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I listen to some of the other stuff. It's good stuff.
You just got to keep being positive, buddy.
That's it.
All right, but hey, I'll
Okay.
talk to you soon, and I'll let you know when this episode's getting put up.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Chris. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, all right. Take it
Bye-bye.
easy. Bye.